Hello everybody, this is Dr. Madiha Saeed. I'm a board-certified integrative holistic family physician coming to you live with my son, Abdullah. Yay! Let's figure out the sunlight so we can, yay, that's a little bit better. So this is super exciting. Look, Mary Agnes, mwah, mwah, mwah. So we are going to talk about what today?
EMFs.
Yay! EMFs! This is a really tough topic. But first, let me go ahead and introduce myself. I am a board-certified integrative holistic family physician, and I used to have lupus and Hashimoto's, and I no longer do. It's crazy, I know, right? Because doctors don't want you to hear it, that you can be in charge of your own health. How? By solidifying the bases, solidifying those foundations of good health, which are everyday lifestyle tips that you can incorporate into your daily routine that can empower you to change from the inside and out. So it's so super exciting. So those are, because no matter what you're dealing with, if you're dealing with digestive issues, chronic pain, headaches, problems with like numbness or tingling anywhere, allergies, digestive issues, none of us like that. You like that? No. Any of that. So if we're dealing with any of those issues, along with, other autoimmune diseases, even cancers, I know all of those have one underlying root cause, and that is?
Inflammation.
So inflammation is basically your body off balance. And we got to put your body back into balance. And that's all I did. All I did was I put my body back into balance. So then I can heal not just one symptom, but then guess what? How many?
All of them.
All of them! Yay! Simultaneously. So it's so super exciting. It's like stuck. So it's so super exciting. So those are your foundations of good health. And that is your digestive health and detoxification. And the 4 S's: stress, sleep, social, and spiritual health. So we're going to just touch on those pieces. So Abdullah, for spiritual health, how are we going to optimize our spiritual health?
Like stuff like gratitude.
Gratitude. So what do we recommend to patients?
Meditation.
And gratitude. So every single solitary morning, say 10 things that you're thankful for. Because I am thankful for Abdullah. Yay! I can get red lipstick all over you. Yes, I can! So then we have is social health. So what do we do for optimize social health?
Well, you want the good friends with you and not the bad ones that'll drag you down.
Yeah, like my Mary Agnes. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you, Mary. So, and then we have is social health, then sleep. So how do we optimize sleep?
Well, go to sleep on time.
And making sure, and then we have is how do we optimize stress? Stress causes 80% of the complaints that come to primary care physicians. So no matter what you're doing, if you're stressing, it's going to mess up everything because it leads to 80% of the complaints that come to primary care physicians. So we need to incorporate some sort of stress management technique into your daily routine to keep those damaging hormones at bay. And what do we do to do that? How can we keep those damaging hormones at bay?
Don't get stressed out.
And how do we de-stress?
Meditate.
Yeah. And then we pray, and then we do gratitude, and then we do mindfulness. Focus on the now. Focus on the present. Excellent. Then we have is your digestive health and detoxification. Abdullah, why is the gut so important?
Well, the gut holds the microbiome, so most of the microbiome is in there, and those are like the good and bad bugs.
Yeah. And so if there's more bad bugs, is that good or bad?
That's bad, because they're bad bugs.
So what do the bad bugs do?
They make stuff bad.
Yeah. So they don't do their job well. So they let things through that should not be getting through. 70 to 80% of the immune system says like, hey, you shouldn't be here, so I'm going to go attack you. So when it goes to attack it leaves immune complexes all over the body. And when these immune complexes all over the body, it leads to your chronic symptoms. Either they may be depression, anxiety, digestive issues, mood disorders, or other mood disorders, problems with pain, problems with allergies, asthma, cancers, the list goes on and on. So we need to keep those gut microbiome happy and healthy. And the way that we're going to do that is to make sure that how? We have to not eat what?
We can't eat like non-GMOs. I mean GMOs.
Yeah, GMOs. And then
non-organic.
Yeah. And then a lot of the junk, right?
Yeah.
Any artificial foods. So we recommend no grains, no dairy, no sugar, no processed foods. Just because, especially if you're dealing with a lot of problems. And if you do choose those, make sure you choose like the organic GMO, non-GMO versions. I did it too. And then we have the next thing is to make sure that intermittent fasting will help the insulin levels. And what's really super, super important is to make sure you're detoxifying. And that is what we've been talking about in the last couple of weeks. So you can go back in the Facebook Lives and see how you're doing with that. But specifically, let's go ahead and talk about, because there are toxins everywhere. Can you do that with me? So there's toxins everywhere. So when there's toxins everywhere, we need to keep ourselves protected. And it's very difficult. It's better not to think about the things that you can't control, but we're going to think about the things that we can control. So that is what we're going to talk about today, is the EMFs and the electronics. But we talked about, food and nutrition, identifying your toxins, what you can eat to optimize your detoxification. Now, all of that is super important. Last time we talked about oral health, what we can do oral health-wise to optimize our detoxification. And now we are going to talk about EMFs. Because EMF, or electromagnetic fields, have been around since the beginning of time. Seriously, we even... because at that time we even get it from like the sun and the earth itself. But it wasn't until mankind, like humans, we started to learn to generate the electricity and EMFs that hit the technology breakthroughs, like with the light bulb and the radio communications. And now, then obviously then you have computers, we have microwaves, there are wireless technologies, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So these man-made EMFs are the ones that are really, really bad. And so what happens is that these have then just gotten, we're at 4G now, they're just going to go to 5G, and we'll talk about that. But specifically, what's super important is that first let's start with the basics. Because Abdullah, what is EMFs? Because if you guys haven't heard about EMFs I didn't know about this beforehand because I'm not sciencey like that. But what are EMFs?
Well, EMFs stand for electromagnetic fields. So
what do they comprise of?
They're comprised of an electric and magnetic field perpendicular to each other.
Okay, and then how does that travel?
So it travels together in like an invisible wave. So
yeah. So there's like a huge different waves that it does. And so EMFs can occur. Abdullah, where do EMFs occur?
Well, they can occur next to near an electrical current, like a cable or something.
Okay. And then when atoms, they can occur, especially when they so near electrical current, and then when atoms absorb other forms of energy, and they can be in the form of heat or another EMF, right? Mm-hmm. And then also when nuclear reactions occur, such as the sun that creates energy. But it's those man-made EMFs that we're really worried about. It's a man-made that are generated by, all of these different ways that include, Abdullah, so what are those man-made ones that we're worried about?
Well, those ones are that include radio waves, Wi-Fi signals, microwave radiation,
And then what else?
visible lights, UV lights, and infrared radiation.
Yeah.
Those
So there's
are-
different types of
Yeah.
infrared radiation that you can get, are all different types of EMFs. So there's how many types of EMFs are there? How many?
There's two.
Okay, what are they?
They're the low frequency EMF radiations and the high frequency EMF
So
radiations.
the low frequency EMF radiations. So the low frequency. Which ones are the low frequency ones?
Well, those include.
So what is low frequency? So they have low
They're
frequency are visible light and
Yeah.
non-ionizing radiations. And so what are examples of low frequency EMF radiations?
There's microwave ovens, computers, like visible light, cell phones, power lines.
Oh, wow. MRIs, even your Bluetooth are all forms of this low frequency EMF radiations. So then we have is the other side. What is the other form of EMF radiation?
Well, this other form has the higher frequency EMF radiation. They have higher frequencies than the visible light. And examples are ultraviolet light, X-rays, and gamma rays.
Okay, perfect. So we talked about this, the EMFs in this. And so we all know, so then are they harmful? Like, what is going on? Why are we all talking about this? So are EMFs truly harmful? So we talked about the different examples. Again, Abdullah talked about microwave ovens, computers, even the smart meters in the houses. Then we have his Wi-Fi networks, cell phones, Bluetooth, power lines, MRIs, all of that, different types of radiations that are there. But what's really, really, really important is to know that there have been links. So let's go ahead and talk about this because, we know that right now the knowledge that we have on EMFs is growing. So we have to focus on the knowledge that we do have. And those are, there's so many different, so because specifically there's, the phone's been around for a little bit now. There have been studies that have shown that the actual phones have been linked to cancers and like breast cancers. The microwave ovens have been linked to just getting basically older, and they've also been linked to so many different, like Harvard publications even noticed that it messes up your food. So when it messes up your food, then it nukes all the nutrients, and so therefore we try to stay away from that personally. But again, all of those things can damage organs and cause increased free radicals in tissues in the brain and the body that can cause a lot of problems. Then we have is the Wi-Fi, right? Because especially, the dangers of Wi-Fi are so heavy. Because typically Wi-Fi works of the ranges of 2.4 gigahertz and like the same as the microwave oven. But also what happens is that the opposite is also true because yes, it's like small, but we're just getting more and more and more because of the fact that, their doctors and organizations have actually voiced their concerns over Wi-Fi and technologies in school where students are and teachers are, that they've experienced these heavy electromagnetic radiation exposure throughout the day. There's an integrative doctor called Dr. Sinatra. He's an integrative cardiologist, a co-founder for Doctors of Safer Schools. And he's even done studies where that says that the heart is sensitive to and it can be adversely affected by the same frequencies that has been used for Wi-Fi. At levels of a fraction of the federal guidelines. So that's less than 1%. And at levels that have been recorded in schools with Wi-Fi technology. So especially a lot of the symptoms, although what can be the symptoms of, like if somebody has, because Dr. Sinatra had actually specifically tested these, and I showed Abdullah the study, and it was really cool because the fact that he showed that these high-tech technologies in the classrooms, people have complained of what kind of symptoms?
Well, there have been complaints of difficulty concentrating, chest pain, feeling faint, fatigue. Then there's also fatigue, anxiety, weakness, and dizziness.
Absolutely. So the actually Environmental Health Trust warns the dangers of EMF radiation, saying it actually contributes to the person's toxic body burden. And so that is heavy, especially with everything, all this other toxic heavy body burden that we're having. We need to, at least minimize this as best as we possibly can. I know it's not difficult, but we need to at least minimize this the best we can. Because this organization, the environmental, I have to think about it, Environmental Health Trust, actually talks about that there's research that shows, and I've seen it, research shows that points to the perspective that what happens is that this brain-brain barrier is compromised due to these the wireless routers and the EMF, electromagnetic radiations. And several studies have actually suggested that this radiation actually pokes holes in the protective barrier that causes more toxic compounds to reach the brain. So this is where we have, now they say that just by all of these things that are going on, these man-made foods, man-made things are all causing a lot of problems in and around us. So the other things, so we know that we talked about microwave ovens. And so how much EMF exposure is safe? And with high coverage of cell phone networks and Wi-Fi's and appliances, it is really simply not possible to reduce it, right? We can't reduce the exposure. But what we can do is try to limit it. Because of the fact that, again, the World Health Organization has shown that there's a certain amount that is healthy and a certain amount that is not, right? And they've established guidelines for safe EMF exposures, which countries, again, establish their own guidelines. So let's go through and find out what we can do, right? Because, again, we talked about the symptoms. So insomnia, anxiety, depression, so chronic levels of low-frequency EMFs, which we're talking about the low-frequency EMFs. Right, Abdullah, can you go through that list again for me? The low frequency EMFs, if you have got too much, what kind of symptoms can occur?
They can cause insomnia, brain fog, anxiety, depression.
Remember poking holes in the brains? That's pretty scary stuff.
Frequent illnesses. Then there's also hormone imbalances, cancer, or increased in cancer risk. So you can get cancer or
increase your risk of cancer. So therefore, basically, EMF exposure. So Abdullah, is EMF exposure healthy?
No.
Unfortunately, it's still possible to reduce the EMF exposures. And we need to now decrease that the best that we possibly can. And how are we going to do that? Right? Because it's a little crazy. But what we need to now first do is we need to avoid, first possible, Abdullah, what is the first thing that we can do?
Well, you should avoid living near strong sources of EMF radiations.
And what are those? What are those that include?
You shouldn't smart meters.
Yeah, so try to stay away from that.
Radio stations, electric generators,
power lines. You don't want to stay next to power lines at all. These are things that you want to try to avoid, especially when you're trying to purchase a house. Because literally they've done studies. An Italian study actually found that adults and children who live about 3 kilometers from a radio station are higher risk of developing leukemia and other diseases. So not good. It's better to try to see if we can stay away from that as best as possible. Next, what do we want to try to do to limit it at home, Abdullah? So we talked about trying to limit it in our environment. What can we do? Remember, we can't control this. You can't, when you're going out, it's very difficult to control. But we can control what we are exposed to at home. And Abdullah, you're going to tell us how we can limit the exposure at home.
Well, we can, to limit it at home, keep your appliances and devices off, or you could like switch them on to airplane mode.
Okay, that's what we try to do.
As much as possible.
As much as possible.
You can hardwire the internet connections rather than using Wi-Fi.
We are working towards that. Working towards it.
If you have to use Wi-Fi, then only turn it on when it's in use and turn off the Wi-Fi router at night.
Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. Right now, especially we're trying to keep the routers far away from us. And we've actually hooked it up into the basement because I don't want the kids to be around that around that. And then the other things that we're trying to do is that we're trying to switch, again, we're going to switch the Wi-Fi router off at night. And then what are we going to do, Abdullah, with our computers?
Hardwire your computer rather than using wireless or Bluetooth connections.
Okay, and then what else are we going to do?
You should ensure that your homes are electric wiring is done properly to minimize the EMFs.
Okay, and then what do we do with like these electronic devices?
Well, you should keep the electronic.
Should we keep them on us?
No.
So what should we do with these electronic devices?
Keep them away. Keep the cell phones, tablets, computers away from the body. This includes using headphones to make calls instead of placing the phones near your ears to speak.
Okay, so again,
use headphones
and try to keep that away. And then especially when we're sleeping, what should we do when we're sleeping?
Well, sleep away from the circuit breakers or large appliances that run overnight, including if the appliance is on the other side of the wall, because
that's not good.
Yeah.
And then there's also things that you can buy. So like there are EMF shields for the cell phones. There's defender pads under your laptop. Again, this is all a work in progress. I'm working on this every day. Every day I'm saying, okay, what can I do to improve the state of my health and prevent my family from getting sick? So we are slowly and surely doing this. So then we have is also filter out like dirty electricity. One can use that, and then there's take regular digital detoxes that can also help, right? Like making sure you take away, because these phones are so addictive, super addictive. But then there are things that we can do. So with high coverage of phones and networks, sometimes it's not possible. Period. I live in a house where people are using the internet all day long and all night long. And so I can't just sometimes I can't shut out the routers at night because the fact that my in-laws have all their family in Pakistan. So guess what? When do they have the most of their conversations? At night while we're sleeping. So in some situations, it's very difficult to do that. And I completely get it. And I'm working, again, for me, it's just a work in progress. Every day I'm working. Every day I keep my it on airplane mode, keep it far away from me, try to keep and trying to convince my husband to do the same. All again, a work in progress. But there's things that we can do every single solitary day, and that is what I want to focus on. Again, is that things that we can focus on every single solitary day to reduce those EMF exposures are, Abdullah, what do? We love to do grounding, right? Because when you go outside, you want to put your feet on the ground because that allows our bodies to neutralize those positive ions from electric devices and resynchronize, right, our bodies. And then, Abdullah, what are the other things that we can do?
Well, exposures to negative ions, such as being near moving water, Himalayan salt lamps, or a negative ion generator can mitigate the negative effects of the exposure to EMF radiations. Mitigate.
Ooh, since when did you learn that word?
Next.
He impresses me every time. Woo! Mitigate. You will not see me use mitigate. No. We are not going to be using that word. That's only for his little brain. And then also, what other thing can help mitigate the oxidative stress from EMF exposures? Remember what we're doing every day.
Nutritionist diet.
Yay! Eating a nutritious diet that is high in what?
Antioxidants.
Antioxidants! Yay! So look, this is like Alma saying, you're so intelligent. These are simple things, you guys, that we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and recap that. So we are surrounded on a daily basis by electronics. And those electronics are hazardous and can cause a lot of problems. There are computers, TVs, cell phones, microwaves, all these crazy things. So limiting exposure is really important for health and healing. And the best way that we can do that is first, simply turning off your TV router at night, never carrying a cell phone on your body, switching to airplane mode when you need it. The other things, let's say using the speaker while you're talking, keep it far away from you, making sure that you make short essential calls only on your cell phones, avoid carrying it in your pockets and on yourself. And then what we want to do is you want to make sure, again, do not text and drive. And if you plan on watching a movie on your phone, first you should download it, and then you can switch off the airplane mode and then watch it that way. So simple things that you can do to really optimize your health and wellness. Again, I know it's super, super hard, but it's just these simple things that we can do to optimize the health and well-being of our children and our families. And I love this. If you guys have any questions, me and Abdullah are here for you. So the final thoughts, you do the best you can. It affects EMF radiation. We know affects our hormone health, can affect our sleep patterns, our mental health, and so much more. So we can drastically reduce our EMF exposure and cell phone radiation by simply taking these tactics of what, Abdullah? So what do we need to do again? So what we need to do to remove is by using simple tactics like
a texting by
holding the phone far away from your body instead of making long calls, keeping the phone on what? Airplane mode?
Yeah.
Airplane mode. And then not keeping the food on your body all day long. Keep it at far distance. So simple things that you can do to optimize your health and wellness. Mwah! Thank you guys for joining us. It was so nice. If you guys have any questions, me and Abdullah can go ahead and answer them. Thank you. Hi, I want to know where you guys are talking from. This is so much fun. Thank you for joining us. Wendy, thank you for sharing. So exciting. Again, until next time. Woo woo. Next, factors of inflammation. We're going to talk all about mold. I know. There's a lot going on these days. So have a great weekend, you guys. I hope to talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye.